Hi, class. My name is Lori. The business scandal I'm going to talk about this week for my discussion post is the Equifax breach of security that affects, they first reported 143 million. It actually affects 145.5 million Americans had their data compromised. The breach included social security numbers, dates of birth, home addresses, the kind of information that makes it possible for criminals to apply for credit in your name. And we all know, if you've ever applied for a home loan or a car loan, that the banks rely heavily on credit scores to determine if you are able to get a good interest rate on a loan. So the news first broke in September of 2017. The CEO steps down after the scandal. He's not fired. He actually takes a retirement and will be receiving a $18 million pension. He won't get a bonus this year, so that's his punishment, but he does get the pension. He will stay on with the company as an unpaid advisor until they transition with a new CEO. There's some interesting things about the timeline that came out during congressional hearings, which were held in October of 2017. First of all, the breach actually occurred in May of 2017. The company didn't discover it until July of 2017. The CEO first found out about it at the end of July. There were some stock sales that took place amounting to about $2 million in stock sales for 3 executives that occurred in the first week of August. The board of directors of the company wasn't notified until August 24th and 25th, with the general public being notified, or the breaking story coming out on September the 7th. And so there's some speculation that the company delayed disclosure to try and limit its liability to protect itself from the expected upcoming lawsuits that are going to happen. Some other people were also forced to step down, or actually nobody was forced. They retired. So the chief information officer as well as the chief security officer also stepped down. And now some of these activities that took place after this breach have led to the launch of an investigation by some different groups as to possible illegal activities, especially with the stock trades. Some other things that the company did that were mystifying, to say the least. The company actually created a separate website notifying consumers of the breach, and it was a way that you could look up and see if your information was among the compromised information. But then the company tweeted on its official website the wrong link, and the link was actually to another phishing site. So that created a terrible amount of confusion. The company has been accused of really not acting fast enough to let consumers know if their particular information has been compromised and what they could do to protect themselves. One interesting thing that came out in the congressional hearing was the CEO stating that the breach occurred because it actually occurred from software that was not that was vulnerable in the customer dispute portal portion of Equifax. And that software, which is open source software called the Apache Struts platform, had a vulnerability in it, which Apache disclosed and notified and made available a patch for it back on March 6th. And so the CEO basically came forward and says in the congressional hearing, this is due to one employee of the technology department that did not inform the appropriate IT people that this patch needed to be put in place for this one specific customer dispute portal, and that's where the breach came from. So I feel bad, the one lone employee is not named in the congressional hearing, but it just, I don't know. I think if you want to look further into it and read some of the comments from the senators during the congressional hearing, they make comments like, we can't legislate to fix stupid. So that might be kind of what this situation represents. The latest information as of December of 2017 is, of course, there's a huge class action lawsuit that involves all 50 states. It's a 300-page document, sort of ongoing. There's actually, I think pardon me, I think the total amount of lawsuits is like 300, but one of the lawsuits is, probably going to be the main huge 50-state class action lawsuit that's now going forward. So my question to my classmates is, what came out of the congressional hearings is that there's no criminal action, really. There are investigations ongoing. So should corporations like Equifax, should they be held accountable financially and criminally? We all know that class action lawsuits can drag on for 10 or 15 years, and maybe some settlement is reached where each individual, you get like a $2 check in the mail and that's your portion of the lawsuit. Is that really enough? And should somebody be held more accountable for what happened? And also, what impact do you think this has on the credit reporting industry as a whole? I mean, they were one of the big three companies. They're responsible for everybody's pulling credit reports. And if you can't trust the information of one of the big three, then what does that say about the state of credit reporting in our country and how our whole financial system really revolves and relies on that? So I'll be interested in looking forward to hearing your responses. Thank you.